Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me here. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. Travel being what it is, it was very difficult to make the journey. But what I'm going to talk to you about here today is a little bit of where space has changed over the last 35 years. I've been in this business a long time, and it's really become very exciting. And there's a lot of people who are very involved in this, but it wasn't always this way. And so, what we're going to talk about here is how things are changing. See if I can get my clicker to work here. Connection lost. Okay, so my clicker's not working. Can somebody advance the slide? Okay, there we go. Thank you. So we're sitting here in the new space economy, and there's a new age, and it wasn't always this way, but this new age is really exciting, and it actually has some historical context. This new age is leading to a new economy that will be every bit as important as the economy that is around us. It'll integrate slowly into it. It's becoming very large, and it's an economy all of its own that's rising. However, it's to me it's a lot like the New World. 500 years ago, ships sailed from where you're sitting from Spain to the New World where I am, and nobody could really imagine what that would be. The space economy is really a lot like the New World was 500 years ago, where we stand today. Back then, people journeyed across the vast oceans, and if you were standing on the shores of Spain, you would see the galleons coming and going and coming back with riches, filled the galleons with gold and other sorts of things. And but nobody could really imagine what would happen in the future. Let me see if I can get okay. Can you move forward for me on one of the slides? My clicker is not working. Okay. Thank you. So few of us could have imagined standing on the shores of Spain, what the new world would be. Next slide, if you can. All right. So the new world today is a very big part of the world economy. 500 years ago, it was a wild land, and pretty much that's what we have today with space. It's a frontier economy, and we're standing really on the cosmic shores of space today, economically and physically. And when we look out, we have the same sort of inability to see what it will be in the future, but we can start to see what it's starting to look like. It's starting to take shape, and that's the exciting part about what's happening today. Right now, it's about $500 billion a year economy. Most of the forecasts show it to be a $2 trillion economy by 2040. It's something most of us, I think, have dreamed about going to. I know when I was a kid, I thought a lot about flying in space, but it was something that was really just what nation states did, and very few nation states. And so if you wanted to fly into space or to do anything in space, you had to become involved with the governments. And because they possess the technology to go there, and they also had the money to make it a reality. It has traditionally been a very expensive thing to do. And what we're seeing today, though, is a revolution, and it's a magical revolution that is happening, and it's one that's going to change the world. And it's being led by private companies, which I like because I'm an entrepreneur and a capitalist, and I think this is the way it should be. And they're creating an emerging space community, an emerging space economy, so fast that it's eclipsing in just 10 years what has been done in the previous 50 years in terms of the number of launches and the number of satellites built so far. It's also globally connecting the world in ways that we can never imagine before, and that's pretty important these days. It will also revolutionize the way we communicate. Most of most of our communications is terrestrial, and gradually this will become a larger and larger part of it will become in space. And so we have also looking at ourselves. We fight about what the Earth really is and what's really going on the Earth, but going into space will really allow us to look back on the Earth and see it for what it truly is. And there's a tremendous perspective and value in that. And people hopefully gradually realize that we're alone on this blue terraqueous globe, very fragile in the middle of the blackness of space. So I started Phantom Space about 2 years ago, and wanted to really pick up where we left off with SpaceX 20 years ago, and start all over as if we were, building another SpaceX in the modern era. And this is really focused on building the next generation of space transportation, picking up on the shoulders of giants who've come before us, and doing what's next. And that the goal really is to accelerate the space economy. We've got to make space easier to access. It's got to be people like yourselves who have an interest, who have ideas maybe of doing things in space. We've got to lower those barriers and accelerate the economy through that. It's a lot like computers when I was in college. Computers were just for the universities and the people who had access to them, but now they're everywhere. And that's our vision for space, is to make that happen. So we're going to do this by employing mass production techniques that we see in the automotive industry. And this has been proven over and over to lower the cost, increase reliability, and increase the average person's access to the technology. This was pioneered by Henry Ford, who took automobiles, which were really simply unaffordable playthings for the rich, and turned them into something that even his own employees who built the cars could afford. And Henry Ford not only changed the way we moved around the world, but he also changed society itself. And so we're also focused on building satellites that ride along. We've managed to garner a number of satellite contracts so far. So we believe that these markets need to be vertically integrated so that eventually we can build our own space applications. And by space applications, meaning what we do in space. So like the mobile phone is not terribly valuable without the applications on them. The same is true of space systems. Ultimately, at Phantom, we look to use our own launch vehicles and satellites to put our own cloud systems in space for satellite-based intranets, observation systems, and so forth, to create value in space and vertically integrate the markets. So we're also focused on building innovative point-to-point transportation systems that'll lead us into being able to move around the Earth a lot faster. This is one of our rocket-powered aircraft that we've acquired. We're looking way down the future, as well as trying to satisfy the immediate needs. And ultimately, this is about the future. This is about our families. This is about humanity. This is about bringing us all together and making us a spacefaring species and a better species for it. So that's all I have to say today. Thank you very much for having me here. I've really enjoyed this and the opportunity to give you my vision for where space is going.